Hi guys, welcome to my ICT Hub. This is Mr. John, your ICT teacher, making ICT concepts easier. Alright, today we want to look at IGCSE ICT, that's Information and Communications Technology 0417 February March 2024 paper 2-1. Now we'll be using that paper to dwell on document production. That's what we'll be teaching on today. We want to look at document production. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's dive into it. Okay, so today we are looking at IGCSE assessments examination, that is Information and Communication Technology. I'm aware that a number of you would have started preparing for the February March version of this examination. Okay, so this part of the reason why this video is coming out to help as many people to have your A-star grading that you so desire. So now the IGCSE paper 2-1 is made up of 3 application tests. We have the document production, database, and presentation. I'll be doing other videos where I'll be teaching you easy ways or easy concepts to be able to go through the exam for database and document and presentation. I beg your pardon. But for today, we are looking at document production. Alright, so let's dive in quickly into this question. Okay, here we have a list of all the files given to us as our source file. So let's confirm that. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 files here. So let's quickly go there. Yes, we have all my source files confirmed. Then we quickly go to the first task. The first task says evidence document. Now I must start to tell you, first, the evidence document is a necessary document because IGCSE exam is an exam that is graded externally from your location or from wherever you are writing the examination. Now for the graders or the markers who will be giving you the scores, to be certain that you actually carried out the test or you did the practical yourself, they need evidence on some aspects that cannot be seen from your printout. You'll be printing out the editing, the document you're going to produce, but some aspects of the printout or of the work you're going to do cannot be captured on the printout. So they need evidence for you to prove them. So as we are going through the examinations, I'll be going through the questions, please. We'll be emphasizing on what are the things that these evidence documents really want to see, because it's not just about capturing any screenshot, but really you need to make them see what they want to see or the evidence they want to see from that screenshot. So we start first with the evidence document. It says open the file C02 evidence. So let's locate that file quickly. So we have here, this is C02 evidence. If I double click that, okay, and just for information, I'm using Microsoft Office Word 2021. Okay, now let's go back to the question. Having opened the file, let's see what the question now says. The question says, make sure that your name, center number, and candidate number will appear on every page of the document. How do we do that? That's quite simple. If you either place it in the header or in the footer. So I want to go with the header, so I could just double click above the margin here, or you could double click above the margin, or if you don't want to do that, you could also go to your insert and then you could go to your header and footer. Okay, so from the insert there, you can select on your header or footer, whichever option. Sorry, this is the header and footer. I was a little bit distracted. You have your header and the footer here. Okay, so whichever way, I prefer to go with double clicking above the margin. Then I'm going to align it to the right. I prefer my name showing at the right, but it's not specified. So wherever you want it, at the middle, the center, to the left, or to the right, it's optional since the question did not specify that. So I have my name John. Then we have the center number NG33. Sorry, NG anything 123. Then we have my number 0001. Okay, when I'm done, I double click here and I'm there. All right, let's go back to the question and see what the question now says. Save the document in your work area as evidence, followed by your candidate's number. I have an example there, evidence 999. Okay, so let's quickly go we'll go to File, Save As, and I just want to change the file name there. So this is going to change that to evidence, and with my number 0001. Okay, then that is saved. Okay, perfect. Now let's go back to the question. Next question says you would need your evidence documents and information during the examination to place screenshots when required. And it's when required, like I said, they need evidence to prove the fact that you are actually carried out some of this task through the examination. So the first task then now goes with task is document. Let's start out with this. You're going to edit a report about video gaming. The company uses a corporate house style for all its documents. Paragraph styles must be created and applied as instructed. Paragraph styles. Please take note when we get to styles, I'm going to give more emphasis on this. It says paragraph styles mean styles that effect on paragraphs, not just text, not just a table, but particularly on paragraph. Okay, so let's move on. Now the first question there says, using a suitable software package, open this file that is gaming. So let's go to my, okay, here we have gaming. Let's open that file. Okay, yes, now that is my file open. Let's go back to the question. I want to minimize this now. It's okay. Now the question says, the page setup is set to A4, landscape orientation with 25 centimeters margins. Three things. We have the paper size, which is A4. The orientation is landscape with 2.5 centimeters margins. Do not make any changes to these settings. Peradventure you are told to do that in another exam, the one you're preparing for. Let's just see how this, let's confirm this and see how we can get that done. Okay, now we go down there. For margins, we have to go to your layout menu, then we come to the margins, and we could click on custom margins. Alright, here we can see the top, the right, 22.5 cm, and just a little digression, showing in case your application, your application program, you are seeing inches and not centimeters. Well, no need to panic. Let's quickly go there and see how you can change it to centimeters. You come to your file, you want to locate options. So here I have options. Then in this, from this dialog, you want to go down to advanced. Then you scroll down to where you have the display, where you have display options. Okay, here we have display, and then you can locate your unit. So you click on that and select centimeters if you are not working with centimeters. And if you are, I think that's okay. So we click on OK, and that way you can see the dimensions. Okay, so we can go back to our custom margins to quickly confirm that. So we see our top, our bottom, the left and the right are all in 2.5 centimeters. Then he also told us about the orientation, which is landscape, and the paper size, which is A4. So we can confirm that. Should you, if your question comes and you have to change things like the margins, the paper orientation, or the size, so this is where you do all of that. Now, before I leave this dialog box, this is the gutter. Another thing in IGCSE scheme, because I'm a teacher and I've been tutoring for a while, is that it's among the scheme of work, you also to know how to set gutter. Now, the gutter is just like a binding aspect beside the page. Let me give you an example. If you want to increase this now, let's increase this. Now, the more you increase, you will take note that we have these lines coming out to the left of this paper. And gutter can either be because it's like a binding place where you can flip the pages when you print it, either to the left or to the top. So the positioning here could either be because where you set the position if you want it at the top or you want it at the left. But this question did not say anything about the gutter, so we want to just take this back to 0. Okay. Okay, so we've taken out the gutter, and remember it says do not make any changes to this. So I just want to cancel it to be sure that I've not made any changes to that. Okay, let's continue the question. It says, the next one says, two paragraph styles have already been created. Do not make any changes to these. Two paragraph styles have been created. Do not make any changes. Once again, let's go and confirm those paragraph styles. If you go to your home menu, this time, here you have the style section, the style group. But let's take a look at, if we click on this little arrow, it gives us more details. So we can see, okay, the two paragraph styles created. Here we have this, and it's for those of you who have a little screen or possibly you're watching on a mobile device. I want to zoom in so we can all see this clearly to see what paragraph styles are. So here we can see we have the title and we also have the body. Now, the active style that is selected is dependent on where your cursor is. Now, if my cursor is in between the text here, that's why you can see the body. If I click on the title, can you see the active style will change? All right, so it is dependent on where your cursor is. This I would emphasize more when we are creating styles. So let me turn out the zoom. Yes, turn out the zoom. So we've confirmed that two styles have actually been created. Now we move on to the next thing. It says, save the document in your work area with the file name GA market. I want to copy this. Okay, that file name. Then now the next thing says, make sure it is saved in the format. Take note, in the format. When you hear the word make sure, they would always want to have a way to confirm that. It is saved in the format of the software you are using. Okay, so let's go quickly to save as. I go to my file. I'll go to Save As. I'm going to browse, and I want to paste the name there. Yes, please, you will be typing in that, so you have to ensure that you type it in correctly. Make notes. The question says in the format you are using. That's why they need you to change from the RTF format to whatever format your application program is. And for here, since I'm using Microsoft Office Word, it's best to change to the Word document. Okay, so once you are done with that, you can just click on Save. And yes, it's upgrading it from RTF to Microsoft Office Word. So full features of Microsoft Office Word will now be loaded. So we click on OK, and you can notice there's a little adjustment because now we've moved from the RTF format to the docs format. Now let's check on a question. The next thing says, place in your evidence document. Now, you need an evidence to prove that you actually did what you were told to do. Place in your evidence document a screenshot to show, how many things are we showing? One, to show that this file has been saved. That's the file name. Secondly, make sure that there is evidence of the file type. For you to get 1 mark, you need to show these 2 things. If you miss out one of it, you're going to lose this mark completely. There is no half grading system in IGCSE. It's either you get it fully or you miss the mark. So to have the full mark here, you need these 2 things. You have to show the file name and the file type. So how do we do that? Now let's quickly go to where we saved that file. Here it is. But if you take a look at this file now, I'm seeing the file name. The file type is showing here, but for is a screenshot, you might not want to bother. So, but it was better that you have your file extension. With the file extension, easily the file name and file extension will tell us what the file type is and the file name. So do you want to go to your view? Let's turn on the file extension so we can see that. Go to your show, then you click on file extensions, and there it is. You can see the file extension. So I could easily take a screenshot of just this part, the file name and the file extension, and give that as my evidence. So to take a screenshot, I have an application on my system, but if you don't, never mind, you can use the sniping tool. Okay, it's a utility software application on every Microsoft system. So we click on new. Okay, then I could just do a screenshot. This is all that is needed, the file name and the extension to show me the file type. Now let's quickly go to my evidence document 1, and I want to paste that there perfectly. You might just want to make it a little bit bigger so it can be visible. And once you're done, that aspect of the question is done. So let's go back to the question and let's move on. Okay, the second question now says, place in the header of the gmarket, that's the file we've saved now, documents, the text gaming review by with a colon. Okay, let me copy that, and followed by a space and your name, center number, and candidate number right aligned. Now this does not need an evidence document because it would actually show in the printout. So we don't need an evidence document to be able to capture this. So let's quickly go to that. But before we move on, let's look at some informations. Place in the footer. Okay, this is for the header. Now this is for the footer. So let's quickly go first for the footer. Place in the, okay, where is it aligned to? It says right aligned in the header. Okay, let's go quickly to our document. I want to go to the header now because of, I could just double click on that once again above this, or to make it easier, you might want to use placeholders so that you can be certain of which part of the header you are placing it. So if you click on that, you could use these 3 placeholders and pick on the one that says the right. I place it there, use my space, and then my name, center number, and candidate number. All right, that is it. Hold on, let's go back to the question before I leave there. Next thing says place in the footer an automated page number right aligned. So I just want to go to the page, to the footer now. I might want to use this placeholder. Okay, let me just place this, come to the right, and I want to go to page number, current position. I place that right aligned. Okay, but before I leave now, is that all? Now make sure, what do we want to emphasize? All the alignments match within the page margins. Yes, if we take a look at that, it's within the page margins. We have not altered any of the page margins. Next thing is no other text or placeholders are included in the header or the footer. Now, because we made use of placeholders, we have to get rid of them. So you click on this, delete on your keyboard, click on this, delete on your keyboard, click on this, delete on your keyboard, and click on this and delete on your keyboard. Well, you don't always have to use the one with the placeholder, but placeholder is necessary in a situation where you have more than one content in your header. So in case you need a file name along with the page number in the footer, now a placeholder is a very effective way to get that done. So but in a situation where it's just one content, well, you don't always have to use a placeholder. You could just type in your content, insert the page number, and align it to whatever part you want it to be. So let's continue. Right, let's go back now. It says, the last thing says the headers and footers are displayed on all pages. Okay, yes, I think right here we have it. Yes, displayed on all pages. So once we are done, I think we can close here, and we are done for that question. All right, let's move on to the next question. Number 3 now says, select the subheading games and the following text up to, so let's start that. Let's just locate that subhead. Okay, selected games. And it says, and the following text up to and including the paragraph ending with same hardware and performance. Okay, possibly you don't want to start looking through, though many of the times the paragraph is right towards the end. This is it, same. Okay, you might not want to go, but at the same time, you would also use your find key to try and check if that, but because I have already seen that, I could just either use my mouse and scroll through or come to the end. Once that is highlighted, hold down your shift key and just click, and that will be highlighted. And do that again. What I mean is you highlight this first, and you highlight this first. Okay, go to the end where you want it to stop, hold down your shift key on your keyboard and click there, and all of that will be highlighted. Okay, now it says, what do we do? It says change the page layout so that only this text is displayed in 2 columns of equal width with a 1.5 centimeter space between them. Okay, so let's see how we can do that. To do that, you go to your layout. Here you have the tools column. You want to go to more columns because there are more editings you're going to be doing. Now let me zoom into this dialog box so we can see what I'm doing there. When we zoom into the dialog box, we are picking 2 columns. Now this section here, we have the width, we have the spacing. We say the question says equal width, so we are not bothered about the width, but the spacing in between is what we are bothered about. It says 1.5 centimeter spacing, so I want to change that to 1.5 centimeter. Okay, and once that is done, then I could effect it, and that's it. We have been able to effect that perfectly done. So let's move on for 2 marks. We've done the 2. It's in column, and we've confirmed it's 1.5 centimeter space between them. For the next 3 marks here, we have apply numbered bullet 1 to 3 to the text from, that's from this to this. Let's locate those texts. Where is it? Okay, here it is. So I can highlight this text. Okay, once I'm done with that, let's go to home for that bullet numbering. So we want, this bullets, we want to use numbering. Okay, that's perfect. Now, what do we take note of? Make sure that the numbers are aligned at the left margin. Now, take note, there's no measurement. It says at the left margin, meaning it should begin from the margin. So you want to go to your layouts. If you take note, we have the left indentation here, the spacing. So you want to take it back to 0. Okay, good. Starting at the left. There are some questions I've seen where they're actually giving, you'll be given a distance, maybe 1.5 cm or 1 cm from the left margin. This is where you make those changes. But for this, it says at the left. So there's no dimension. We take it back to 0. Then the next thing says that the list is single line spacing with no space before or after each line. So it's still highlighted. I want to go to a single line spacing with no spacing before or after. So I could easily come here, pick on paragraph 2. I want a single line spacing. Now the spacing before and after should be 0. In order to, I want it to be 0 because no spacing before and after. We click on OK. Yes, that has been effected. And lastly, it says there is a 6-point space after the last item in the list. Now take note, just the last item, not everything. So that means I have to take my cursor to the last item. Then because the paragraph spacing, I could easily just come here, space after should be 6, and hit my enter key, and you can see the space has been effected after that. So that has been done for my 3 marks. The next thing we need to do now is to create and store the following styles. Take notes, from the beginning of the question, it made mention of paragraph styles. So now it says create and store the following style based base it on what? Basing it on default or normal paragraph style. Once again, paragraph style. So let's see how we work on the styles. So to do that, we have to go to our home menu. Now in the style groups here, you can see we have two styles, but like I said, we click on this arrow to see the styles. We want to create a new style, so I'm going to use on this button there to create new to open the dialog box. Okay, now we've been given instructions. The first thing is the GA subhead, so I want to highlight this. Okay, that's the name, and okay, paste it there. The next thing is fonts, but before we go to the font, let's just look down here. What type of style? It's a paragraph style. That is what I was telling you, that there are different types of styles we could have. We have the text, we could have the table, but here the question says or character paragraph style, so we're in order with that. Then it is based on what? If you take note of the question, it says, let's go back to the question so I can emphasize that. It says basing it on the default or normal paragraph style. Here we don't have this, so we have to change this back to a normal paragraph style. And that is done. Sorry, for those of you using a small, let me zoom in so you could see what I just did. Yeah, okay, so we have the normal paragraph styling is what I've picked on that, and we could leave this now. The next thing now says is about the fonts. Let me turn this off. The font style says serif. Now, serif is not a particular type of font, but it's a font style. There are two types of fonts. We have the serif font and the sans serif font. The serif font is the font that has edges, examples like Times New Roman, Cambria, Georgia, and all of these fonts that have edges at their, have lines at their edge. But for the serif, sans serif fonts are fonts without edges. So example is Arial, like this font we can see here does not have an edge. So this is a sans serif font, Arial and others. So let's pick one particular font. I like going with the Times New Roman. So I could just, yes, okay. So we have the Times New Roman as a font with edges. Now the font size is a 20 for the font size. So we could just type in 20. Then the next thing, it should be aligned to the center. We have an alignment here. Then it should be bold, italics, and in all caps. Okay, we have bold, italics, but all caps is not displayed here. But it's a feature of a font editing. All caps is something that it's a character editing that we could see it comes with a font. So what do we want to do? You go to this, your format, and you are looking for font group. So from the font group, you want to select the all caps. For those of you who can see, we have all this. So we want to select the all caps. Good. And that has been taken to all caps. And I forgot to mention one thing. Before we leave here, take note of the active style. The active style here we have is the body, not the title. So that by the time we return, it's going to apply this font style to wherever the cursor is. So it's important that you take note of the active style you are working with before you end this. Okay, so we go back now, we have single line spacing and 00 space before and after. So to do that, it's a paragraph editing. So we go to paragraph, then we have a single line spacing, space before 0, space after 0, and we click OK. And we are done with this. But just before we leave, take a look at our evidence document. It says take a screenshot to show that you have defined these settings for the GA subhead style. Now take note, make sure that there is evidence that you have based this on the default and font. They are re-emphasizing this just in case you forgot about it, that make sure there is evidence that you can see that you based it on the normal font style. So that means if we go back, can we reconfirm? Yes, there is evidence to that. So let's take a screenshot of that. Use our sniping tool, new, and let me take a screenshot of that before I leave. Okay, now that has been saved. Just before I paste it, I could apply this, click on OK. Now you can see it's applying on the wrong place, so I have to return that back to the body. Okay, good, back to body style. Since I'm not to apply it, I've never been given any information on where to apply it to. But now let's go paste that in our evidence document. So that's evidence 2. All right, and that has been pasted. You can see the normal bold list in there, and all other editing details that you've added are all clearly seen there. So don't bother about where your cursor is placed while you're editing this. Just take note of the active style that you have while you are editing or creating your new font style, so you can return the style back or apply style back when you are done creating the fonts. The style you are creating, paragraph style, I beg your pardon. All right, now the next question now says identify the 3 subheads in the document and apply the GA subhead style to each one. Okay, now let's go back to our document. The 3 subheads. We have games here with the next subhead. Alright, we have another subhead. Do we have one here? No, we don't have one here. Alright, let's check down. Okay, we have another subhead here, cloud gaming. Okay, yes, I missed this. So let's apply it. So I'm gonna just click on it. Remember, it's a paragraph editing. You don't have to highlight. Click on that, it applies that. Go to the next, just click within the paragraph and it applies it. And I click within this paragraph and all right, now it's using my, what's it called? It's using the numbering. So I have to turn off the numbering. That means it's applied with the numbering. Sorry, let me just quickly turn off that because it's not supposed to be applied with that. Possibly I turned on my number to read my editing. Let's quickly go and confirm that in the subhead and see if I actually did that. So to modify that, let's confirm and see, did we turn on numbering? So numbering. Okay, numbering was selected. So let's turn this off. Click on none so that it does not affect numbering there. Okay, very important. Okay, yes. So sorry about that. So now we could go back and let's just reapply to see. Yes, so now no numbering is in that. So take note of that in case you make such mistakes. You can quickly find your way to trace and correct that. Now we go on to the next question. Now says, locate and move the paragraph. Cloud gaming is a method up to access this. Okay, let's locate and see where to move that paragraph to. Where did that paragraph? If you can't find it easily, you could just use your Control F to find. But here you have the paragraph cloud gaming, and where does it end? It ends here. Now we are moving it. Remember, we are not we're not making a copy. We are moving, so that means we are going to cut it. So let's cut the file. Okay, now where are we taking it to? The question says, okay, so that it appears as a new paragraph. We are moving, you are not copying it, you are not creating a copy, we are actually moving the file. A new paragraph immediately after the heading cloud gaming. So I'm going to locate that heading. Cloud gaming, where is cloud gaming? Okay, here's my heading. Now I want it to apply immediately after this, so I click behind this. Okay, yes, and that has taken its place and moved the other details down. Now let's go back to the question. Haven't done that? Yes, we have 1 mark for that. The next question now says, place a cloud a cloud shape aligned to the right of the column and the top of the paragraph starting, what's going? There are many advantages. Okay, let's try and locate that first. There are many advantages. Okay, here I'm done with this, so I might want to just close this for now. Yes, so there are many advantages. I'm bringing in the shape cloud there. So let's insert and go to shapes. Okay, now we want to locate cloud. The shapes are divided into different groups, so we want to look at cloud. For those of you, let's use something. Let me zoom in so you can see that better and be able to locate our cloud from this. So here, I think my cloud is here. Yes, just hovering over it, you can see cloud. Click on that. Let's take away the zoom. And paragraph, we want it here, so I could just draw it there. Okay, now I have it there. Let's wait and see the instructions. So what's the next instruction? Now it says, format the shape so that it is resized to a width of 5 centimeters. Okay, luckily we've changed this to centimeters, so we can easily just type 5.0. Okay, that's the height. It says a width, I'm sorry, so we want to do the width. We say 5.0. Okay, that's a width of 5.0. We're not worried about the height. It would no question, no instruction about the height. The next thing says the outside edge of the cloud is black and 3.4 thick. So now we have clicked on it. We want to go to format it. The outside, the outline, change it to black. And it says 3 to 4 points. So that means the weights. I'll just go with 3 because this is more than 4. So I'll just go with 3. Okay, and the next thing now says it is filled with a light gray shading 10 to 25%, between 10 to 25%. So I'm going to the shape fill. Let's look for a gray and wait for that. Okay, 10 to 25 is 25. Yeah, 15%. Let me just go 15% here. I think that's about it. Then the next one is between 10 to 25. So if I pick 15, I'm in order. The text wraps around the shape. Now that's the text wrap. You could either use this tool that pops out here, or you want to go to the text wrap itself. click on text wrap tool. Then you want to make it, I prefer going with square. Title square will do, but I prefer the square because it looks more organized. Now remember, it says it should be at the top. So there's the beginning of the paragraph. Okay, yes, and aligned within at the top and just beside it. Okay, we have it there. Very well done. Now let's move on. Now enter the text cloud gaming. Okay, now how do we apply text? Now you're done with this for 6 marks. Cloud gaming in the cloud shape created in this. So we go back. How do we add a text? Just right click on the shape and go to edit text. It's going to make it, sorry, not edit points. It should be add text, please. Add text. Okay, then we paste that. It's in color white. What's the instruction? It says format this text to display in bold and black font. Okay, so I'm going to highlight it. I want to make it with your, yeah, you use your flyout or you just come back to your menu bar here. We have black and we make it bold. All right, I haven't done that. Now, to give us a sample, it says make sure that the text fits within the shape and does not touch the border. Now the completed shape should look like this. Now this, can you take notes? We have a width of 5 cm. Okay, let's just confirm. Yes, we have 5.0 cm, but we don't want the text to be wrapped. So I want to reduce the font size. So let's go back to home and have it something like, I don't know, let's shrink the font. Okay, perfect. That's something like that should do. Yep, maybe let's reduce this a little bit. Aha, yeah, it looks something like it now. Perfect. Okay, now we go to the next one. It says spell check and proofread documents. Now to do a spell check and proofread the document, you need to use your spell check tool. In case you even forget where the spell check tool, one good feature about this office now is that you can easily check for it too from here. Just ask it, I want my spell. Okay, and that's it, spell check tool. Although I know the spell check tool is located within our review. If you go to the review there, you can see the spell check tool. But in case you forget, with this search bar, you can easily search for any tool within Microsoft Office Word environment and it will locate that tool for you. So then I want to check through the document, is there anything? And yes, we can see that the first error it has detected is the spelling of realistic here. So it will apply the check or the spell check which Microsoft Word has found. You just want to click on it here and it will apply it. The next one there has 2 options. Is it this? Okay, if you feel this is the correct thing, like we have that simulation, so I pick on that. And the next thing is checking in that sentence that it should be an hyphen. Okay. Now if I want to accept it, I could click on that. And the last one here is the results. Okay, more like there should be a comma here. But if you feel it shouldn't be, because we are told to spell check, not to, or possibly to also proofread. So if this is like an error, you might want to click on it to apply. But should, in case you have the situation wherein you see a spelling that is underlined, but it's not, you know, it's like a particular field, a jargon of a particular field. It's not a English grammatical word. You might want to escape or leave that. So how do you want to escape or you want to pass? You could just click on ignore one and it will pass through. So I just did that so you know how to do on both situations. Okay, so once that is done, you want to go back and check the question. Let's see what the question says. Here now it says, make sure that there is no split. There's no split over. Make sure the list is not split over 2 columns or pages. One. Secondly, that there are no widows or orphans. There are no blank pages. Original styles are maintained. All styles are applied consistently. And lastly, spacing is consistent between all items. Okay, let's check that. First, we have an list split. Okay, this is split. So I want to move this down. Okay, yes, that's okay. Now, if I move this down, the top of this paragraph is split over this. So I want to move this down also. Okay, yes. And now again, another window has been created down here. Just because I'm not, I can't. Okay, just to create that, let's move the whole thing down from here. Okay, so let's move the whole thing. Yes, I think that's good. So that way everything, we don't have a window, we don't have an offer, there's no split, and it's still 2 pages. So I think that's about all that's good to go. Then also take note when you are done to print, remember your, sorry, this is a snipe tool. Okay, here you also have your evidence document, the tool. Now remember, this is just the word production. It's a part of the whole question. So in a situation when we are going to be having a video that have the whole question, we're going to answer all these evidence documents. So, but for this word production, these are the two evidence that are requested from the question. And here, once you are done with this, you can print out your file. And I believe all the scores, you won't miss out on any mark. You can have your full mark for this and actually work towards achieving your A-star grade, which you desire to have for this examination. So I'll see you again in my next video when I also make another Word document production video with another past question before we go to other aspects of this IGCSE examination. Until then, do have a great time.